Kush's movie review.
Welcome back, YouTube people, to this YouTube exclusive Waffle Box Kush's movie review as we complete, unless you've watched them in the wrong order, we're completing our journey of talking about all 10 Oscars 2023 Best Picture nominees. This episode, we are two men talking about women talking the movie.
Yeah, well worded. That's well worded. This is women talking. It's PG-13. It's a hard PG-13 because some of
Is
the
there some
dialogue
titty?
is what you, there's no titties
No.
involved here, but what the kids call spicy these days, there's some spicy talk and it's not positive. It's not positive. And maybe it's not spicy, but this is women talking again, PG-13. It is the shortest movie out of all 10 nominated for Best Picture at an hour 45.
And
It
we
came
know
out in
Kush Hayes loves a
2012,
short movie.
obviously. Kush Hayes does love a short movie, but this is, man, you go through it. Hearing the shit that happens in this movie. This is written and directed by Sarah Polley. Where do you know her from? She's in every series of American Crime Story. She was also the psychiatrist in
American Horror
I want
Story?
to say
Is
it's
that what you're talking about?
Glass. No, American Crime Story. That's the OJ's TV series. That's the series
Oh,
about Bill Clinton. That's the series about
yes.
Versace.
Yes,
American
sorry.
Crime Story. They try to make it a brand, an umbrella, if you will. But
The
she's been in
American
all three of
Crime
them.
Story cinematic universe.
Yeah, man. Except for the fact she plays three different characters. Anyway, Sarah Polley, great goddamn director. This is this is as basic as it gets. Like I said, this is movies called Women Talking. It promises and delivers what it promises. Just it's women talking in a barn. What are they talking about, Mike Fish? Well, these women are part of a religious colony. It's not clear if they're Mennonites or they're Amish or whatever they are, but what they are is women who are getting raped daily,
Oof.
daily, and
Ugh.
it's just like it gets to the point where you hear one woman like, "Yeah, my 4-year-old's not going to get raped anymore," and you're like, "4-year-old?
The
Jesus
fuck?
fucking Christ!" Like, uh, uh, the movie starts with a girl waking up. She's got bruises on the inside of her thighs. There's blood stain all over her and her mattress. And she goes, "Mom, it happened again." And you're just like, "It happened again?" Jesus fucking Christ. Like this movie is terrifying. It is not based on a true story, but it is based on actual events, which means this is a collection of stories that was collected to make this movie to get its point across, which this thing is still happening. And because it is this secular religious colony that has been segregated from the rest of the world, like this could be 1920, this could be 1960. It apparently is 2010 in this movie. Okay, and you're just like, this thing is happening in 2010. Um, this thing has been going on forever. Generations of these atrocities have been happening. Monsters have been created because of whatever rules are happening on this colony. And it always comes back to, well, you better forgive them or you're not going to make it to the kingdom of heaven, Mike Fish. You were wronged, not just one time, but dozens of times. If you don't forgive them, you're not going to to the kingdom of heaven, Mike Fish. And
Well, it's a
that plays a
compelling
big
argument.
part in it plays a big part into the whole thing here. We're like, there's like, what are we talking about? Like, if this is what we have to endure the kingdom of heaven, why would we want to go to heaven? Like,
Good point.
it gets into a lot of debate and philosophy and just holy shit. Just I don't want to think that there's a world out there that there's this much evil, but there is. Like there's some evil motherfuckers in this, and to this movie's credit, you don't see any of the men. There's one dude you see in this. He is actually because of colony whatever colony rules. He's actually less than the women. He's there to take the minutes. He's not gay or anything, but there's a whole thing where he was excommunicated and then he was let back in, but then he's less than. So he's just like, yeah, there's some evil shit happening here. I should help out wherever I can, and he's there. But even then, the women are making fun of him. So there's a whole class thing happening here, but women talking again, lots of evil shit that you thankfully don't see, but it gets to the point where like one woman goes to this is a colony, Mike Fish, and again, it could be 19th century, it could be 20th century, it could be 21st century. It all feels just very blurry because there's no cell phones, there's no internet, there's no nothing that you and I are accustomed to in this day and age. So one woman just goes to the prison box. They caught the dude who tried to rape a girl one night. And then he gave a bunch of other dudes. And they put all those guys together in a box. And this chick just goes up and like, is my brother in there? I don't know if I was carrying your baby, but I feel like I was carrying your baby. And then she gives into a whole monologue about it. And it's like, really? God damn it. Like, fathers and brothers are just raping their sisters and raping the neighbors. And just like, you know, we, like I said at the beginning of this review, there's no real man presence in this. Like, Brad Pitt doesn't show up and go, like, I only know three things in this life. I know farming, I know Jesus, and I know raping my sister. He doesn't get to make that speech. FY, Brad Pitt actually EP'd this movie and is silently one of the best producers in Hollywood right now, this past decade.
Shout out to Brad Pitt.
Shout out to Brad Pitt. I'm going to get a little deeper into that in this week's microdose. Microdose number 155. If you're listening to this after the Oscars, yeah, Brad Pitt is a bad motherfucker and is silently keeping his name out of this. He has to put his name on the picture, but he's done no press for this. He wants no questions for this. He doesn't want to make any answers. He's just like, I thought this was a great script. I thought Sarah Polley is going to do a good job, and that's my involvement in it. The end. So, um, women talking. I honestly thought it was also when I first saw the ad for it on Facebook because this didn't get a lot of play in many major American cities, if any global cities. Um, I thought this was like an Onion spoof at first about movies that were getting a nominee for the Academy Awards. But this is a real movie. It is very good. It's currently available as of this recording on Prime for like $6. And I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. There's there's some evil shit they talk about in this, man, and you're just like, fuck, why is that still happening here? Is this gonna win Best Picture? No, no, but it's I'm glad it's out here. It stars Rooney Mara and Claire Foy. Fun fact: they both played Elizabeth Ness in the American versions of the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
That is a fun fact. And this is a PG-13 movie.
A hard PG-13.
I
Like you don't
get,
see any violence,
yeah,
but
there's no graphicness. It's just
there's
more, I
aftermath.
guess, like there's some visuals and audio to kind of lead your brain in a certain direction. I guess, isn't it? You don't see
Yes.
the acts taking place.
Thankfully, no. And you don't see any of the the aggressors. You don't see any of the men involved. Like at one point, Claire Foy drives a sickle into this woman breaks the lock off the box, opens the gate, and then just drives a sickle into one of the attacker's chest and just starts cussing him out in whatever secular words she can do. But you're just like, yeah, go ahead, Claire Foy. But
Do it
you still
again.
don't see who she just murdered.
But you
But
know it's a
because she murdered a dude on religious ground, they're like, we gotta take these guys into the city. Oh my god, these guys are in danger. These men who have been endangering our women for the last 3 decades, we gotta get them safe. And then once they're all arrested, this is the plot of the movie. All the men in the colony walk into town to post bail for these dozen dudes, and these women are left alone. And they're like, so are we gonna just pretend this didn't happen? Are we gonna fuck all these guys up, or are we just gonna leave? And that's the whole point of women talking. Is it's a debate about three options they have. They actually have more options, but these are the three that they are talking about.
does it without, I guess,
Break
without
it down, Mike Fish.
spoiling
What's your
things, without
question?
spoiling things, I guess. But just because my only I get that there are certain movies that are there to kind of make you think and make you reflect and things like that. However, so I'm not opposed to a good happy ending, and sometimes there are these heavy movies which are heavy for a reason. I get it, I totally get it, but then they just kind of end in a sour note, and you just, even though it's a good movie, sometimes you kind of like, you just have to sit there for like 15, 20 minutes after you watch it, like, Jesus Christ, that was intense. Is there at
So
least
unlike
kind of like some kind of light at the end of this tunnel?
unlike Triangle of Sadness, where the movie starts to get interesting and then just ends,
Fuck that
doesn't have an
movie.
ending. It just ends. Women Talking has an ending. It opens itself up to a sequel, which will never happen. But you want to see where these women are going, because guess what? A lot of them just go like, yeah, fuck this noise. We don't need this. We can just leave. It's 2010. Let's go west or north or wherever the road takes us. But let's get the fuck away from all of this madness, because this isn't okay. And we should not be allowing this, and goddamn everything about this. Um, there's it's a, I'm not going to say it's a satisfying ending, because so much bullshit within the story happened that you're like, wow, these women have to leave the only home they've ever known. Like, only bad shit is going to happen to them after this. Only bad shit is going to happen to them after this. Like, you get to a big city, people take advantage of naive people, and yeah, it's a whole thing. So, but I gave it a 4 to 5. I don't think it's gonna win, but it's really well done story. I'm glad it came out. I again surprised. I didn't even know it was a thing in theaters.
So yeah, check that out. If you do want to check this out, as I say, or as Chris says, as a right now, available on Amazon Prime Video for rent. Is it rent for 6 or purchase for 6? I'm assuming rental.
Purchase for 20, rent for 6.
Not bad. Not bad. So check that out if you do want to check it out, and we'll see what happens this Sunday or this past Sunday or that one Sunday in March in 2023 if you are watching this in 2034. But yes, so again, if you are checking this out before the Oscars, and you are got a sweepstake, good luck. I hope your movie wins. Kush, I know you're going to do a deeper dive into the full Oscars, or at least right with the microdose coming up.
Yeah, Microdose 155 is probably out by the time this drops. But yeah, me and Drew Angelman, we go over all 10 best pictures and who we think we're going to win. And I don't think the answer is actually that surprising. But we'll see if it happens. We could both be wrong.
does your guess of what's going to win involve some lovely Asian women going through the multiverse?
It does.
No spoilers, no spoilers. Anyway, thanks very much for joining us for this YouTube exclusive edition of Kush's Movie Review. As always, this is usually a wonderful segment amongst others on Waffle Box, the podcast. So if this is your first time watching me and Kush interact, I would highly recommend going to enjoywafflebox.com and checking out the full podcast. There are now almost 90 episodes available of our utter bullshit. So enjoy. But until next time, thanks very much again for joining us. Take care of yourselves and each other.
That's all, folks.